There's no getting around that. Okay? So it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Now the scriptures tell you that the saints are going to judge the world, all right? We know that the ultimate judge is Yahweh Shai, the one that the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And it says they cover the faces of the judges thereof. Now, instead of us seeing a black picture of Jesus all over the world, because that's what the color it tells you that Jesus is, we got this picture right here. This is how he covers the face of the judges. When you go and look up that movie that just came out with Moses, I think it's called Exodus, you don't see a black Moses, you see a white Moses. When you look up anything, King Solomon, King David, anything, you only see white people. Because why? Because the wicked, the one who the earth was handed to, he covers the faces of the judges. The way he covers their faces is by putting his face there, all right? Now, it says, if not, where and who is he? So the Lord's asking a question now. If it's not this white man who we say it is, if he's not the one covering the face of the judges, if he's not the wicked whose hand the earth is in, you have to be able to tell us where and who is he then, all right? So it's not one of the things where it's up for interpretation. You got to tell us who it is. If it's not him, then who is it, all right? So from there, let's go to Genesis 25, because we got to get the whole understanding on what's going on, all right? When was this, when did this happen, and how did it start? Where did it begin at, all right? This is Genesis, the 25th chapter. Like I said, these are things we've read before over and over and over again. The scriptures are repetitive, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, we're going to say a lot of the same things over and over again. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, our people need to hear things over and over again. That's the way you learn. You don't hear something one time and you just have it down packed. You have to hear it a couple different times, all right? So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 25. I'll start at verse 23, all right? It says, and I'll start at verse 22. It says, and the children struggled together within her, all right? Talking about Rebecca. She was pregnant with twins. She prayed and asked the Lord if she could get pregnant. The Lord heard her, and she was conceived, but the children were struggling in her stomach. So it says, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord Yahweh. Verse 23, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So there was 2 different nations of people in her stomach. These kids were going to grow up to be 2 nations, basically, all right? This is how the nations were created in the Bible. God's telling you how he created the nations, just like this, all right? So he says, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger, all right? Just like I was saying earlier, all right? So the eldest, you see, it says, it says, verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, twins were in her womb. It says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So remember, they said that the eldest was going to serve the younger, all right? And who came out first? Esau. So eventually, when everything's said and done, Esau's going to be a servant, all right? His people are going to be the servants, all right? Now remember, I told you that Esau was the wicked. Esau is the son of perdition. This is when Esau was born. This is when the son of perdition was born, all right? So it says, after that, and remember, it tells you what color he was, all right? It said he was red, and it said that he was hairy, all right? Now, the name Esau means wasted away is he, because the pigment, you know, in his skin was basically wasted away. You could see the blood through his translucent skin, all right? So that's why they named him Esau, all right? Now it says, after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And notice it doesn't tell you what color Jacob was, because Jacob was the same color as everybody else in the Bible at that time, all right? He was a dark-skinned man, all right? Now, remember, they're going to be separated from thy bowels, so they're completely opposite. Jacob was the father of who? The 12 tribes of Israel, all right? These people on this side, you know, not the people that are over there in the land of Israel who they're trying to say are Jewish, all right? But the real Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and the Native Americans. And Esau was the father of the Edomites. Now the funny part is, the whole world will acknowledge that Jacob's people, Israel's here today, but they will never say anything about his twin brother Esau's people, the Edomites. That name doesn't come out. But if you're gonna tell us about Jacob's people, then surely you have to tell us about his twin brother's people who God says that he hates, all right? Now, it's not no coincidence that they don't tell you nothing about this person, because then they would have to point their fingers at themselves, and everybody would look at them like, damn, God hates you guys. It would be a completely different story, so they got to keep everything a secret. But like it says, that man of sin was going to be revealed. All these things are coming out. He said that mystery will be revealed in his time, all right? So, all right, so let me go from there to this. I'm going to keep on reading, all right? Whoa. So, this is verse 27. Genesis chapter 25, verse 27. It says, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter. So, okay, we got a guy who's red. We got a guy who's a hunter, all right? And a man of the field. So we know who's the bungee jumpers on the planet. We know who the skydivers are on the planet. We know who the crocodile Dundees are, the hunters. You know, we know who they are, all right? It's not no coincidence that it just so happens to be a guy who's hairy and a guy who's red, all right? The Bible doesn't call anybody white. It doesn't call, and there's nobody on the planet that's white like a piece of paper. There's nobody on the planet that's black like tar, all right? You're either a different shade of red or you're a different shade of brown, all right? No getting around that, all right? So it says, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So Jacob was a plain man. He wasn't hairy. He was smooth, like most Negroes are. All right. And Esau was a hairy man who was a man of the field, a cunning hunter. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in a tent, just sitting at, just chilling at the house. All right. Just like we like to do. We're not about to be running around. We're not seeking, you know, those weird type of thrills like that. All right. Verse 28. It says, and Isaac did love Esau because he did eat of his venison. It says, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Now we know Rebekah loved Jacob because the Lord had came to her from the very beginning and told her, look, those babies are fighting in your womb like that because the eldest was going to serve the younger. He said that there were two different nations and they were going to be separated from her bowels, right? So she already understood that the baby that came out second, he was going to be the one that was going to get everything, all right? Because the Lord came to her and told her that, all right? So verse 29, and Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom, all right? Because the word Edom means red. He wanted to eat some red pottage, which means that he wanted his meat uncooked. We know who on the planet Earth likes their meat medium rare, all right? It goes all the way back here. This is a spiritual thing, all right? It's the same thing, all right? So it says, verse 30. It says, no, verse 31. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright, all right? So this is explaining to you why the eldest son, everything got reversed and ended up coming to his younger brother, all right? This is gonna explain it all. That's why I'm reading this. It says, and Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Verse 34. So as we can see, he just sold his birthright away, all right? So people try to say little things, oh, Jacob, he supplanted him, and I don't really see how it was a supplant right there. There was a fair trade. You want this meat? I want your birthright. Sell it to me today, and you can get this meat. Now, Esau shouldn't have sold away his birthright. All the things that come to him, all the blessings that were supposed to come as being the eldest child, you give it away for a piece of meat, all right? But we're gonna get deeper into that, all right? It says, then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentiles, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. It says, thus Esau despised his birthright, all right? So it tells you right there that Esau despised his birthright, all right? Now watch this. I'm gonna go to Hebrews real quick. This is a precept for that. Hebrews chapter 16, chapter 12, verse 16. Now remember what it said. It said, thus Esau despised his birthright, right? So this is Hebrews 12 and 16. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. It says, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Now this is all the way in the New Testament, all right? This is the book of Hebrews, we're almost to Revelations. So this is reiterating something that happened in the very, very beginning of the Bible, all right? So people try to act like this is over, people try to forget about it. You can't, because the Bible this is what it's talking about, all right? Like I said, you gotta know what's going on in the beginning to have any type of understanding of what's going on in the end, all right? And we just read in the beginning, thus Esau despised his birthright. Right here it says, again, I'll read it. It says, for there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Verse 17. For you know how afterward he would have inherited the blessing. He was rejected. All right, so if he would have kept his birthright, he was going to inherit some type of blessing, some type of. See, people are like, oh, why did the Lord do this to Esau? Well, Esau had a blessing coming had he not sold his birthright, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway because the Lord had set it up for this to happen. All right, this is all the Lord's doing. All right, and who are we to reply against the Lord? All right, so it says he was rejected. It says, for he found no